Now today we're dealing with the Hayward H150 pool heater. What's happening in my case is the pilot light. If you're not familiar with these systems, there's a small viewing hole right down here. And when you have the pilot lit, you look through this viewing hole and you'll see that if you have a pilot or not. Now in my case, the light is just going out after maybe 1, 2, 3 minutes. So I just want to test the entire system to see what's going on here. So the first step is I'm just going to light this. If you're not familiar, I'll very quickly show you how to light the pilot, and we can go on to the next step. Now it's rather very simple to light these. You just turn the knob here to pilot, hold this down, and then you strike the thermopile, the ignition right here. And after a couple times, the pilot should light. Now once you have the pilot lit, you need to obtain a voltage reading. Now to do that, you need a multimeter. You can pick these up pretty inexpensively. Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon, your local auto parts store, they all have them. And what we need to do is a volts DC reading. You have 2 leads coming from the multimeter. So one lead will touch up here, and then the other lead, the black lead, will go to this wire. And we want to see how many volts we're getting. We should see 500 millivolts, which would be 0.5 volts. That's a very good reading. If you're somewhere in the range of 200, maybe 100, that's not nearly enough for the pilot light to last. And then we'll need to replace this entire thermopile unit. But let's see what kind of voltage we're getting. So to make this easier, I'm just going to use alligator clips to free up my hands. So again, one lead goes to this guy on the bottom. And the second lead on top. So again, one more time, one lead up on top, the second lead on the bottom. And we're generating 0.08 volts. That's 80 millivolts. This is incredibly, incredibly low. We should see 500 millivolts. So I suspect this thermopile unit is the problem. So what I'm going to do is actually remove it. I'll clean it first to see if that helps. Otherwise, we'll just replace the entire unit. And this is an 8mm bolt here. And there's another connection point right here. And then this guy right here, which is a 12mm, I believe. Maybe a little bit smaller. And then the entire unit should come out. And I'm just using an adjustable wrench here. It's a little tricky to remove, but there you go. And then you have this orange wire that attaches to the ignition. Now, you should be able to pull it off. In my case, it just was not coming off. I used a pair of pliers and inadvertently broke it. So it looks like it's just a bullet connector. I'm going to try to repair it, but the main thing I was trying to do here is, now this is only 1 year old. That's it, only 1 year old, and look how beat up it is. Now my plan is to remove this rust and clean it off the best that I can with a Dremel. If you don't have a Dremel, just use a piece of sandpaper is fine. And look at the contamination just in 1 year. So if this works, my plan is to remove this from the heater once a year. It's a little bit more work, but for 110 bucks, you know, these are not inexpensive by any means. So I have it cleaned up as best as I can. I'm going to reinstall it, and let's see how we turn out. Alright, so now everything is reinstalled in the heater. I have my multimeter set up, and as you can see, running 0.53 volts. Now the question is, did this work? And the answer is no, it did not, unfortunately. What happened was, when I cleaned the old thermopile unit, I reinstalled it, it just would still not keep the pilot light on. I cleaned it so many times. There was some debris inside there. It looked like old cobwebs in a sense. Vacuumed it, compressed air, blew it out, still would not light. So I had to order another unit. So you can try cleaning it. It did not work for me. Now the interesting thing is, in my case, this is my third thermopile unit in 3 years. It seems like every season I have to replace these. I don't know, it's because I'm in a winter climate during or cold climate during the winter months. I don't know what's going on here, to be quite honest. But third one, 115 bucks. They're not inexpensive by any means. Only a 90-day warranty. So I hope that they've improved the quality here. But we'll see what happens next season. But I hope this at least gives you a decent idea on how you can quickly test this system. And ultimately, if it's not holding the pilot light, a lot of times it's just the thermopile unit.